Team Forger. We're grateful for your time, for joining us. This is a sad situation. I believe you've heard the news. 6 people dead trying to be recruited into the Ghana Armed Forces. What did you pick up? What's the initial information that you had?
Yeah, Mamisi, first and foremost, my sincere condolences and sympathies to the bereaved families of all the sadly and tragically perished potential recruits to the Ghana Armed Forces, and those who are undertaking the screening processes and have been reportedly lost their lives. So far, the death toll has risen to 12, and so many are fighting for their lives in very critical conditions, receiving emergency care.
Did you say the number of deaths have risen to 12?
Yes. According to the report I've just received, the death toll has risen to 12.
That's serious.
From the 6 initially reported in the morning, sadly, it has risen to 12. And we are praying that we do not see, set immediately, must be suspended immediately. Let us prioritize lives. And as we halt it, we need to get back to the table and review the entire scheduling, the entire processes, how many people were scheduled for a day, and vis-a-vis, the crowd, vis-a-vis the control mechanisms put in place. No one should just give an excuse that there's a surge in applications and for which there must be a stampede situation for people to perish. So we immediately must halt the process. Full investigation has to be undertaken to establish the facts, and reviews have to be put into the process for us to be able to save lives. If we need to be able to look at scheduling the optimum number of potential recruits to be scheduled a day, we have to look at that. If we even have to further decentralize Greater Accra, Ashanti, and some of the high demand, centers, we need to take that decision very quickly and halt every process so that we prevent further death toll and to save lives. And then when we have put all those measures in place and we are satisfied that our potential recruits are not going to have to risk their lives in their quest to serve their nation, then we will give the clearance for the process to recommence. But immediately, let us suspend all screening processes and prioritize the lives of our citizens. It is so sad. This is so sad. Why must people perish in their quest to serve their nation? Proper arrangements need to be put in place. It is so sad that when the minority constantly gets certain suggestions which need to be taken into consideration, all in the name of goodwill, it is glossed over. We are talking about a ministry as defense ministry. For 3 months, there's no proper leadership of the defense ministry. And we have said it again and again, that appoint a substantive minister for defense to ensure there's proper leadership at the Ministry of Defense.
So you anticipate that the lack of leadership may have led to the process not being well planned to anticipate this large...
Leadership is very key in military planning. Leadership is very key. And so no one should take for granted the risk. We kept warning that the fact that we don't have a substantive minister for defense is very dangerous. It is risky. Let us not wait for disasters to occur. We shouldn't lose lives before we do the right thing. This is not politics. Please, this is life at stake. Whatever we can do to save lives, let us do it. Let's put politics aside and for once, prioritize lives of our citizens. The security and safety of our citizens is so key. Now, these 12 young people have died. They are looking for their families, going through the appropriate channels to contact them. Their families will hear. They are now every parent whose child went into screening at LWAC will be up in arms. We are urgent calm. Your people should not risk dying just because they are recruited. This is not the first time we're having recruitment in this country. So please, let us halt the whole process. Let us go back to the table and let us rethink this whole scheduling and then put proper measures and scheduling in place to have optimum crowd control, to have optimum number of people to come in, then even have sufficient time to also educate the public and appeal to them, the potential recruits, before we recommence the process, so that everyone will cooperate until such a time when they have been informed of their particular schedule before they turn up for their own safety. We need time to sort all these things out. So we are appealing that if the government is minded to the call of the minority caucus, they should halt the entire screening process. Let's save lives first and let us replan, put proper measures in place. Then we can recall.
Well, Honorable, so you put out there that there's an issue with the leadership situation in the Ghana Armed Forces because there's no substantive minister. It's being taken care of by the Minister of Finance. However, I know that the Chief of Defense Staff overlooks issues or matters in the Ghana Armed Forces. Couldn't that have helped?
It will be premature for anyone to point fingers at individuals. What we are saying is leadership matters. And that is the reason why in the security architecture of this country, at the helm or at the leadership of defense, there's a minister in charge. All other supporting high-rank officials play their role creditably to support the minister. And so no one should be quick to point accusing fingers at any official. But the fact remains that if you have the defense ministry vacant for 3 months, and then when calls are made for substantive appointment, the response is there's an acting minister in charge who doubles as the finance minister. The finance minister is busy thinking about the budget he's going to present to Parliament tomorrow. He is so busy with it. Minister of Finance is not an easy portfolio. It's a very complex portfolio. It is a very comprehensive, one of the largest portfolios in any country, in any economy. And so if you have appointed a finance minister as an acting defense minister, knowing very well the workload, the daunting workload already on him, overwhelming workload on him, and expect that there will be proper leadership exercised upon a huge, another equally complex and sensitive ministry as the Ministry of Defense, then you will be disingenuous and you will not be faithful to your people. So let's put politics aside and let us put the right architecture in place.
So,
and then that is something that has to be done. But immediately today, the process has to be halted. That is unfortunate. No one must politicize it, but we must save lives first. Let's halt it. Let's get back to the table and let's review the entire process. And if there are some, I understand, and I know that prior to this, there was some decentralization efforts. But if the data, according to the demand, is indicating that in some particular centers or rates, there is surge in demand, we need to replan even before we commence and ensure that they are scheduled in a way that is optimal. The public is engaged to cooperate according to the scheduling, and then we can now come back. So for the sake of lives that will have to be saved, let us halt this process and put in the right measures, and let us support the Ghana Armed Forces in this trying moment.
Right. Do we know, do you know, have information, any information about the current state of those who are injured, whether the president has got into the hospital yet?
I'm not aware of that, but we are keenly following and monitoring any development that comes up. We will be more than excited to share. I'm sure the media may also support in this regard and dispatch reporters to the various recruitment centers and to the various relevant places, so that you also obtain some of these information firsthand, so we can all support in ensuring that the public safety of our citizens are not compromised.
Well, the issue of unemployment comes up strongly because of the current situation that has happened. At least the number we know now is 2 million Ghanaians that are not in any form of employment or in training. The government put out that they are wanting to recruit about 12,000 into the Ghana Armed Forces. These numbers that come up, that has put so much pressure on the Ghana Armed Forces. How do we tackle the issue of unemployment?
Let's put it in perspective. Yes, unemployment remains one of the national security threats in sub-Saharan Africa, not only Ghana, sub-Saharan Africa. Youth unemployment remains one of the highest security threats. That said, it is a systemic issue that has to be dealt with. So no one is disputing that. Again, yes, the plan is to recruit 12,000 soldiers into the Ghana Armed Forces in the next 4 years. So it is expected that the plan for this year, my understanding, is targeting to recruit 4,000 soldiers for this particular exercise. It's targeting 4,000 recruitment. And so the numbers may not be an excuse for which stampede situation should be created. It could be avoided. Even if you are recruiting 20,000 at a go, there is a way to go about it in a way that the scheduling will be spread out and in a way that will even identify by data the hotspots, the highly subscribed, the overly subscribed centers, and for proper plans to be put in place to avoid stampede. So the stampede situation should not arise because of the number of recruits potentially to be recruited. You can even decide that you are recruiting 5,000 or 2,000, but the demand could even rise. But it all depends on how you manage the scheduling. And so let's go into it. This is just preliminary observations. When we halt the exercise and investigate fully, we will have very constructive further suggestions to make into the process to prevent loss of life going forward.
Grateful for your time. Defense and Interior Committee Ranking Member, Reverend John Intim Fojo.